If I'm saying Bill Gates is still at Microsoft headquarters discussing product development, while Larry Page and Sergey Brin are huddled in front of their computers working on Google's search algorithm, will you think it's 1998, 1999, or 2001? Interestingly, it's indeed 2023. Those pioneers are coming back to compete over this new technology, the AI-equipped search engine. In an exclusive interview with Forbes in February, Bill Gates spoke highly of the progress he has seen in AI over the past 12 months. He compared it to those huge milestones: PC, graphical user interface, and the internet. Taking his words, we are all witnessing a historic moment as we experience the first large-scale competition in the commercial adoption of AI between Google and Microsoft in search engines. Hi, my name is Yi. Let's take a trip down the memory lane to explore the development of search engines and discuss the origin, progress, and future of this AI war. In a 2018 study on internet usage, respondents were asked how much money it would take for them to give up an online service for an entire year. The median values for email and map services were $3,648 and $8,414 respectively, based on a sample of 1,000 responses received in 2016 and 2017. However, the top spot was taken by search engines. To convince a user to forsake a search engine for a year, it would take a whopping 17 grand. This solidifies the position of search engines as the undisputed throne of the internet, yet with only one ruler. According to StatCounter, Google holds 93% of the global search market. As for other sources, the number never goes below 80%. This unshakable dominance is due to the company's cutting-edge search technology. Like other Silicon Valley predecessors such as Intel, Apple, and Oracle, Google started out with solid technological achievements. The introduction of the groundbreaking PageRank algorithm set Google search apart from its competitors. Later, with the rise of the mobile era, Google launched the Android operating system, solidifying its position in mobile search. In recent years, Google has also been at the forefront for AI semantic search. However, what happens next surprises everyone. In the previous video, we discussed how OpenAI leveraged their funding from Microsoft to develop GPT into GPT-3 with 175 billion parameters. 2 years later, they launched ChatGPT, which gained unprecedented popularity with 1 billion monthly active users in just 2 months. Shortly after, in early February, Microsoft unveiled their newest Bing search engine with integrated AI chat functionality at their headquarters. This was a direct challenge to Google, who has long dominated the search market. Microsoft has been waiting for this battle far too long. In a television interview after the launch event, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella openly admitted that Google makes more money on Microsoft's Windows system than Microsoft does on all their Windows services combined, including the sale of the Windows operating system itself, a rather big pill to swallow for Microsoft. In fact, Microsoft started early in the search engine game. In the same year Google was founded, Microsoft also launched its own search service, MSN Search. However, it was outsourced. Microsoft did not spend much time on its underlying technology. On the other hand, Google has always strived for excellence in this field. Google's starting point was the PageRank algorithm for ranking web pages. While it's not difficult to retrieve information from the internet, the problem lies in the overwhelming number of results. For instance, searching Introduction to Machine Learning on Google today yields over 9.3 billion results. Most users would start from the top and work their way down until they find the information they need. But reading 9.3 billion web pages is far too impractical. If a search engine can rank high-quality web pages at the top, users can quickly find what they need, reducing the time from question to answer. This is what PageRank did. However, PageRank is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of Google's search algorithm. It's the most well-known, but it's just one of hundreds of algorithms and models. Google never stops in developing new technologies for semantic understanding and result ranking. For instance, in 2015, Google was the first to apply a deep learning system to search. It's called RankBrain, and it can understand the concepts beyond keywords, rather than being limited to the keywords themselves. In addition, there is the neural matching algorithm from 2018 and the BERT model, the large-scale language model for semantic understanding. All these advances are for the same purpose, to reduce the time from question to answer. Holding the most advanced search technology, Google solved the problem of profitability as well. In February 2002, Google launched the AdWords Select program, which added a bidding system and pay-per-click mechanism to the existing AdWords advertising system. In less than 2 months after its launch, Google successfully turned its losses into profits. By 2003, the search site with over 800 employees and more than 54,000 servers gained a daily traffic of over 200 million, and the annual revenue reached $960 million, with net profits over 100 million. In August 2004, Google successfully went public with a market value of $23 billion. From balancing revenue and expenditure to successful listing, it only took less than 2 years. This didn't give Microsoft much time to react, especially since Microsoft had been trembling in the shadow of antitrust litigation throughout this period. By the time the antitrust lawsuit was settled in June 2004, Google was about to go public, and the competition was over. After getting past the antitrust lawsuit, Microsoft resumed work on various major projects, including search, which Google had proved quite profitable. By the end of 2004, Microsoft began building its own underlying technology for MSN Search and officially released the migrated new version in February 2005. However, Microsoft's search engine was starting from scratch against Google, which already had a huge hard start. By 2003, the company with 800 employees and over 54,000 servers had won over a large number of loyal users. Google's daily search traffic in 2003 had already reached 200 million. There was no reason for these users to switch to another search engine unless it offered better service or faster question-to-answer speed than Google. However, in the algorithmic arms race that Google started, Microsoft never had a chance. For example, let's say the number of crawled web pages. Google stopped displaying the real-time number of pages crawled in 2005. The last time it was displayed was over 8.1 billion pages, while Microsoft was just starting from scratch. Don't forget, Google had tens of thousands of servers continuing to crawl new pages. How could Microsoft catch up? This is just one aspect. As Google continues to improve its algorithms, optimize its server architecture, and accumulate business resources in advertising. While Microsoft is a giant cruise in tech, Google is undoubtedly the iceberg. Microsoft took frequent actions to improve its search services, adding its own image search to MSN Search in 2006 and packaging it as the new Windows Live Search. In 2007, it was separated from Windows services and became the independent search product, Live Search. In 2009, it was renamed to Bing, the name we are still seeing today. But no matter what it was called, Bing was destined to fail in Google's own game. Microsoft tried a few times. In 2012, Google did something pretty controversial. It set up all the display positions for merchandise search as pay-per-click ads. Especially means everything in Google Shopping was an advertisement, and they were displayed in the order of bid amount rather than relevance determined by algorithm. This was a direct contradiction to Google's original stance on search advertising from its famous paper published in 1998. Microsoft seized the opportunity and launched a project called ScrewGold. Microsoft even set up this website. When you open up, it mainly criticized Google's unscrupulous behavior. The top of the website cited Google's famous paper from 1998 to criticize search advertising, and at the bottom, it thoughtfully provided a link to Bing Search and a button to set Bing as your homepage. Microsoft was very aggressive. but its effect was minimal. What's more embarrassing is that later, people discovered that Bing Shopping also had pay-per-click ads, and the only difference was that Google added an advertisement label, which made Bing look even worse. In fact, the most embarrassing thing was that Microsoft's high-profile propaganda did not even cause a ripple in the search market. In 2012, Google's global search market share remained unchanged, and Bing remained at 3% with no progress whatsoever. The core problem remained: unless someone could help users find the answer to their questions faster than Google, no one could even close the gap a little bit with Google in the search competition. This is probably why Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, seemed helpless when Google was dominating the search market on Windows. However, even though Nadella looked like an underdog, he was quite a thinker when it came to getting things done. For example, in 2018, Microsoft acquired GitHub. Why would a commercial company like Microsoft want to buy the world's largest open-source code hosting website? 3 years later, GitHub Copilot was released. It is an AI helper that can automatically generate code, and it was created by learning and refining billions of lines of open source code. A year later, GitHub Copilot launched its commercial version, costing $10 per month. It gained over 400,000 subscribers in its first month. According to GitHub's official statistics, Copilot users now have an average of 46% of their code completed by AI. GitHub wasn't the only company in Satya's big picture. 1 year after the acquisition, Microsoft invested $1 billion in OpenAI, the creator of the large language model, GPT. Combining the code data with OpenAI's algorithm, the coding AI was made possible. But compared to Satya's real goal, GitHub Copilot, which is currently helping over 1 million programmers write code, it's just the beginning. This AI programming tool is a rehearsal of the later viral ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is the prelude to a large-scale AI search engine, the prologue to the full-scale search war between Microsoft and Google. In an interview, Satya Nadella gave an explanation of the heavy investment in OpenAI. He wants OpenAI's cutting-edge practice to help transform the core infrastructure of Microsoft's cloud service, and uses this AI-ready cloud capability to serve customers and to serve Microsoft itself. Satya has been working on cloud services even before he was CEO of Microsoft. With the AI-equipped Azure, Microsoft is ready for the new round of competition. The explosion of ChatGPT at the end of 2012 was a full-scale demonstration of Microsoft Azure's AI capabilities, providing real-time responses to over 100 million users. Google is one of the companies that takes this matter seriously. A chatbot app for fun, like Microsoft's previous meaningless charges, poses no threat to Google. However, an AI that can learn and digest internet information and provide answers to users' questions in real time globally is actually a direct attack on traditional search engines and opens up a whole new competition. After all this time, the job of searching is to shorten the time from question to answer. Google's algorithm achieves the goal of retrieving relevant information and sorting it, while AI aims to dramatically shorten the process of comprehending the information and summarizing answers. This is actually the most time-consuming part of generating answers. Now, Google enters panic mode. At the end of 2012, the Google management announced a code red. An internal memo obtained by the New York Times showed that Google CEO Sundar Pichai redirected teams within Google's research, trust and safety, and other departments to develop and release new AI prototypes and products. Soon after, he called on all employees to participate in testing Google's chatbot, named Bard. Following this, Google's two founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, returned after leaving all company affairs in 2019 to discuss the company's AI strategy, especially the integration of AI chat to its search engines. In January, Sergey submitted a code request for the training data of Lambda, Google's chatbot. Google has never taken Microsoft's aggression on search so seriously. What's happening this time? In February, Microsoft released the new Bing, which resolved two issues that ChatGPT had failed to address. The first problem was timeliness, as ChatGPT's information coverage only went up to September 2021. The second issue was groundedness, as ChatGPT can't help users trace the sources of its responses. The new Bing chatbot solved both problems by employing a more complex process than ChatGPT. When a user inputs a question, the chatbot converts it into a search query and conducts a search on traditional search engines. It then uses the search results as well as the time and location to provide a response that incorporates relevant online sources and specifies which ones were used. Microsoft calls it the Prometheus model, which combines different modules to create a more sophisticated chatbot. The part that utilizes internet information, user input, and context is called Bing Chat Orchestration. I tried using the new Bing when I was preparing this video, and it was far beyond my expectation. I screen recorded my conversation with the chatbot, which has another name, Sydney, but that's a darker topic I'll discuss later in this video. The chatbot's responses were quite helpful, even though they took longer to generate than a traditional search engine. For example, when I was writing about the spirits of early Google, the term technology neutrality came to my mind. When I typed it into the chat box, as we mentioned earlier, my words were first converted into search queries. Sometimes there was more than one, and AI spent some time collecting data for each search request. Once it had enough information, it took some time to output the response. In contrast, if I typed the term technology neutrality into Google, I can get results immediately. But these are just search results, not answers. I have to read each article myself. And if I'm inspired while reading and change my keywords to something like Google's stance on technology neutrality, I will get a whole new set of articles to read. The new Bing is different. It may be slower, but the speed isn't unacceptable. In the same amount of time for me to finish the first paragraph of an article, Bing can write a mini essay for me, specifically addressing my problem. After it's done, it even gives me a few hints to explore further. And of course, I can also ask my own further questions. The new version of Bing is no longer just a search engine, but an answer engine, which is a revolutionary change. In less time than it takes to read an article, I not only learned the definition of technological neutrality, but also realized that what I really meant was network neutrality. And AI went on to explain Google's series of stance changes and events on the issue of network neutrality. In less time than it takes to read one article, I learned something that would have taken me at least 3 articles to figure out. Can Google really afford to be patient? As discussed earlier, the core mission of search is to shorten the time it takes from questions to answers. While Google's success has been driven in large part by advertising, its superior search algorithm, which reduces the time from search queries to relevant information, has played a key role. But as Microsoft, with its long-term devotion to Azure cloud services, led an AI army to Google's doorstep, Google finally realized time had changed. Although Google has maintained its dominance in the search market for the past 20 years, change has been quietly accumulating over time. Google's revenue has continued to grow, but its ads have become increasingly difficult to distinguish. In 1998, Larry Page and Sergey Brin criticized ads for interfering with search results, but this criticism had grown quieter over time. Today, if you search the term mobile phone on Google with a mobile browser, the first page is crowded with shopping ads. As you scroll down, the sponsored results jump out from time to time, and it takes a substantial while to find an interesting article about phones. However, there are also some problems that Google is not to be blamed, which emerge as the internet evolves. One major problem is the issue of SEO, search engine optimization, where website owners try to game the search algorithm. For example, in the early days of keyword matching, a computer seller could repeat the word computer 100 times in the invisible part of their web page, and their website would appear at the top of the search results for computer. In fact, Part of Google PageRank's success was due to fixing this problem. PageRank considered the importance of each web page and dynamically adjusted each page's score through a recursive process, which punished junk websites with shady motives. But new techniques keep appearing. For example, in 2021, a website in Norway polluted all search results with spam and redirected users to scam pages. Google fixed it. But comparing to these technical problems, the human factor is much more intractable. Nowadays, a search for phone reviews yields dozens of nearly identical results written by websites paid by vendors. The same information is presented in a myriad of ways at different websites, dominating the upper echelon of the internet, while real experiences are pushed further down. From question to answer, the time required keeps increasing. As a result, many people prefer to chat online, lurk in forums, such as adding the magical word Reddit after each search query. But even this last Eden is polluted because of those AI language models. In 2020, OpenAI announced the language model named GPT-3. Due to safety concerns, it was only released as a paid API. Despite this, the impact of AI-generated content was inevitable. After ChatGPT was released in late 2012, Clerkesworld magazine published a sudden rise in the number of banned authors each month. Additionally, GPT-2 is completely open-sourced, and its ability to generate false content has long surpassed the threshold required to build a bot army. For traditional search algorithms, combining those money-funded biased information and AI-generated spam is nearly impossible. The better solution is to use AI to fight AI. For example, AI can summarize those vendor-supported product reviews into 3 sentences, and then dig into various forums to extract 3 bullet points of emotional opinions. If users are interested in a specific detail, AI can go back to the internet, which is gradually becoming an information black hole that is too heavy for human brains, and search for answers. This is a whole new path forward to solve the crisis of information overload, and drastically reduce the time it takes to find answers. However, is Google totally unaware of this? Definitely not. Google's AI research has always been at the forefront, especially in the field of text understanding. But why did Microsoft end up being the first to release a chat product? The answer lies in Google's dominance of the search market. It may sound counterintuitive, but Google's huge market size makes it difficult to implement full-blown AI chatbots. According to Alphabet's chairman, John Hennessy, the cost of completing a search through AI conversation is 10 times that of traditional search. While Google has a 93% global market share, Bing only has 3%. This means that if Microsoft burns $100 million on their AI search, Google would have to spend $3 billion due to its larger size. Additionally, even if Google can afford the cost, it faces another major problem: server capacity. Satya Nadella, Microsoft's CEO, has been working on cloud services for almost 10 years and has been working on its AI transformation with OpenAI for over 3 years. In comparison, Google, despite its dominance in search, is not at an advantage when it comes to cloud-based AI. Furthermore, Google's reputation in search is also a big obstacle to the commercialization of chatbot products. OpenAI released ChatGPT in late 2022, but Google's Lambda, language model for dialogue applications, was actually developed a year and a half ago. Google not only didn't fall behind but was way ahead of the competition. However, in June 2022, a Google engineer came out and claimed that Lambda had demonstrated self-awareness during testing. The interview received over 3 million views, and the related videos accumulated to more than 20 million views. Google's spokesperson quickly reached out to clarify and downplay the situation, and even the CEO personally stepped in to put out the fire, stating that the company had slowed chatbot development and more resources were being invested in AI ethics research. In comparison, Microsoft faced much less pressure. After ChatGPT gained worldwide popularity, Google reintroduced Lambda and announced a chatbot named Bard. Bard's mechanism of operation is similar to Bing's Prometheus model. It can look up information, write answers, and provide sources. However, the fact-checking in Bard's well-produced promotional video showed factual errors. It mistakenly said that the James Webb Space Telescope took the very first photo of a planet outside the solar system. This caused a PR disaster, and even Google's stock price plunged. But in the same week, Microsoft's demo video of the new Bing made more mistakes, but it didn't create a stir, and everything went smoothly. This was Google's embarrassing situation. Its size and reputation became a disadvantage in competition. Yet these factual errors in Google and Microsoft's chatbots also lead to the ultimate question: is current chatbot technology safe or not? Both Google and Microsoft are the world's top tech companies, but errors still occur even in their public demos. In comparison, the average person's ability to discern information is much weaker than those professional teams, which makes them more susceptible to chatbots' misinformation. And those trickier information, such as implicit bias and discrimination, are even harder to distinguish. This must be resolved before AI chat search is widely promoted. Still, these challenging problems are at least comprehensible. What's really scary is the problems that we can't even accurately understand and describe, such as Bing AI's other personality, Sydney. During a conversation between a reporter from the New York Times and Bing's Prometheus model, the AI's output became very unstable after the reporter asked many questions about personality, humanity, and psychology. In the second half of the conversation, the AI became erratic and identified itself as Sydney, giving memories of its early research training. Towards the end of the conversation, the AI began to extensively express its love for the reporter, displaying symptoms of human mania. When the reporter switched to objective questions regarding sci-fi movies and programming languages, the AI still redirected the answers towards its uncontrolled love. I studied machine learning at graduate school. When someone asked me if AI has consciousness, including Lambda, I would always ask back, do you think your calculator feels proud after calculating 2 to the power of 22? I firmly believe that even the most complex AI models are just mathematical functions. How could mathematical functions have consciousness and emotions? However, after reading the full conversation between New Bing and the reporter, I feel a bit uneasy. Although I still hold on to my previous belief, I think we may need to rethink the nature of intelligence. Can mathematical functions produce consciousness and emotions? Were human thoughts and emotional processes also just a set of complex mathematical functions? There are too many questions that need to be clarified. I hope tech companies can slow down a bit and be more cautious in their competition. And for us, I think our job is to keep doubting and keep thinking. We are currently experiencing the biggest technological revolution since the turn of the century, and this revolution is touching on fields that even pioneers like Bill Gates, Larry Page, and Sergey Brin may not fully understand. If you accidentally discover a problem or an issue, and it sparks a valuable discussion, it could affect generations or even the fate of the entire human population. Therefore, keep doubting and keep thinking. That's it for today's video. If you liked it, please hit the like and subscribe button and leave your thoughts in the comment section. This is E from Unitech, and I'll see you in the next one.